Okay, let's dive into this. Just picture it. An academic conference, the whole deal, rigorous papers, peer review, back and forth revisions, live presentations. Now imagine every single step from writing the first draft to actually standing up, well, digitally standing up, and defending the research. All done by AI.
Yeah, it sounds almost like sci-fi, doesn't it? But that was HIKMA 2025, and we're going deep into the source material today, the organizers' own talking points, actually, to see how they pulled this off.
Right. So our mission really is to unpack the tech behind it and, I guess, the bigger picture implications.
hmm
How did the AI manage the, let's say, messy business of academic review? And what does this tell us about where research might be heading?
It's fascinating because HIKMA 2025 wasn't just, testing the waters. It went all in. It actually got a Guinness World Record for being the first fully AI-powered academic conference.
The first, wow.
Which completely changes the conversation, right?
Yeah.
It's not just, can AI write a paper anymore? It's, can AI run the whole academic conference machine?
That phrase, fully powered, that's really the crux of it, isn't it? The sources are clear. This wasn't AI just helping out with scheduling or something minor.
No, not at all.
It generated the research papers, it did the peer reviews, it handled the revisions, and then it even used AI avatars to present the findings and take questions, the whole 9 yards.
It was a massive undertaking, a huge proof of concept. But the real story, I think, is the tech behind it, the platform that made it all happen. We need to look under the hood there.
Okay, so this platform was called the AI Scholar Frontier. And the question for you listening is, how on earth does a machine grapple with the really detailed, sometimes pretty subjective work that academics do? How do you code for scholarly critique?
Well, the AI Scholar Frontier, it wasn't just one giant AI model. Think of it more like a toolkit, a suite of specialized AI modules working together. We can kind of break down what it did into, say, 4 main stages.
Yeah.
First, obviously, paper generation. The AI didn't just, rehash old text. It was designed to synthesize data, find new patterns, and actually create original research papers, with proper methods, results, citations, the works.
Okay, generating text, maybe we can wrap our heads around that. But the critique part, that feels harder.
That's the really interesting bit, the second stage, peer review and feedback. This is where it gets deep. The system used clear criteria was the method sound. Is it original? Are the stats valid? But it apparently went further.
How so?
It did deep semantic analysis, comparing the papers against tons of high-impact research already out there. So the AI wasn't just ticking boxes, it was genuinely evaluating the strength and validity of the research, even research generated by other parts of the same AI system.
And what about the back and forth? Reviewers ask for changes, authors push back sometimes.
Right. That leads to the third phase,
Yeah.
the full revision cycle. The AI Scholar Frontier managed the whole revision process. And crucially, it generated those formal response letters.
The letters, where authors explain why they made certain changes or why they disagree with a reviewer.
Exactly. This can be pretty nuanced, even a bit political in human academia. The fact that the AI could handle that structure, that tone, it shows a really sophisticated grasp of the whole academic ritual, not just the data side.
That's seriously impressive. Okay, so paper written, reviewed, revised. What about the actual conference, the presentation part?
Phase 4, presentation and Q&A. So yeah, AI avatars delivered the talks using, very advanced voice synthesis. But the Q&A was the real test.
How did that work? Was it truly interactive? Or just playing pre-recorded answers?
The sources say it was properly interactive. During the Q&A, the AI could instantly access the paper's entire history, the data, the methods, the review comments, its own response letters. It used real-time natural language processing to understand the questions and formulate answers on the spot.
So it could defend its work?
Essentially, yes. By referencing its own logs and justifications, it could give a pretty robust, data-driven defense of its findings, almost instantaneously.
And they made a point about transparency, right?
Yeah.
Avoiding the black box problem, where you don't know how the AI reached a conclusion.
Absolutely critical. The organizers called it the transparency imperative. They kept meticulous records, detailed logs, timestamps, a full audit trail for every decision made from start to finish. You could see the whole process.
That seems necessary, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're handing over the keys to the academic kingdom, you need to be able to see how it's driving.
Exactly. That audit trail was the guardrail.
So the mechanism sounds robust.
Yeah.
What kinds of topics did it tackle? Was it just AI talking about AI?
Not at all, which is interesting. HIKMA 2025 had 5 broad tracks, and they were all focused on pretty major global challenges. Suggests the AI was trained on stuff that matters in the real world.
Okay, give us the list.
Sure. There was social progress, looking at societal issues. progressive education, about new learning models, then more science-heavy tracks, precision health and sustainability, big areas. And yeah, the fifth track was artificial intelligence itself, kind of reflecting on its own capabilities and limits. But the spread across social and hard sciences is notable.
Okay, scope makes sense. What about rigor? Let's talk numbers. At human conferences, the acceptance rate is a big deal, tells you how selective it is.
Good question. Looking at the pipeline data they provided, the AI Scholar Frontier generated 60 papers in total for submission.
Okay.
Out of those 60, only 30 were accepted for presentation.
Wait, only 30 out of 60? A 50% acceptance rate.
Right.
But if the AI wrote all 60, isn't it just grading its own homework? How selective can it really be?
That's the fascinating paradox, isn't it? A 50% rate suggests the AI system was actually applying really strict standards to its own output. It wasn't just rubber stamping everything it created. It implies the internal criteria for methodological soundness, originality, significance. They must have been set incredibly high. It was filtering itself, essentially, only letting the strongest half of its own work through.
So the AI peer review wasn't just for show, it was a genuine quality filter.
That's what the organizers argue, yes. It used strict blind review protocols, managed that whole revision cycle we talked about with the AI response letters, and they had a specific paper status system to track everything: submission, review stage, acceptance, presentation schedule. Very organized.
Which brings us to the elephant in the room, I suppose. When a machine does all this, does it replace the human scholar?
Yeah, the big question, the organizers were really clear on this point in their materials. They emphasized that human oversight was always there at a strategic level. The whole thing was framed explicitly as augmentation, not replacement.
Augmentation, meaning AI does the heavy lifting.
Precisely. The idea was to show how AI can handle the really labor-intensive parts, the drafting, the endless revisions, the checking, freeing up human researchers to focus on the bigger picture. You know, the strategic direction, the ethical considerations, the truly novel ideas.
So humans become the navigators, the ethicists, the creative spark maybe, not the assembly line workers of research.
That seems to be the vision. And they stressed core values like transparency, reproducibility, fairness, trying to build trust that this model maintains academic integrity. It's about AI as a powerful, tireless research partner.
That idea of efficiency, it leads straight to global access, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you can run a whole high-level conference digitally, automatically, what does that do for making knowledge more democratic?
That's a huge potential impact. The model they demonstrated is inherently low cost and scalable. Because it's all digital, all automated from writing to presenting, it dramatically lowers the traditional barriers to participating in cutting-edge research.
You mean like for researchers or institutions that don't have big travel budgets or massive infrastructure?
Exactly. The source material explicitly mentioned how useful this could be for resource-limited regions. They cited examples like parts of Africa and South Asia. Imagine launching a high-quality conference without needing giant venues or flying people across the world.
It democratizes not just access to the research, but the ability to produce and present it on a global stage.
That's the potential, yes. Bringing the center of academia everywhere, digitally.
So stepping back, HIKMA 2025. It wasn't just a tech demo. It was a proof of concept for a whole new way of doing research, potentially more accessible globally.
I think that's fair to say. It showed that a fully AI-managed scholarly workflow, one that's high quality, scalable, and repeatable, is actually possible now. The AI Scholar Frontier, or systems like it, could really change how research gets done.
And they're not stopping there. The sources mentioned future plans.
Right. They're already thinking about HMA 2027 and beyond. The next step seems to be moving from full automation towards hybrid AI-human research ecosystems.
Hybrid, so integrating this AI power into how humans already work.
Exactly. They're talking about collaborating with publishers, universities, policymakers to figure out how this kind of transparent, automated workflow can mesh with existing human-led research, building bridges, essentially. The AI handles the process. The human handles the purpose.
It really comes back to that closing thought from the conference they highlighted, where human minds and machines advance together.
It does. And it forces us to ask, okay, if the AI can generate, validate, revise, and even defend the work in real time, what's left? What is the uniquely human contribution that makes knowledge valuable that the machine can't replicate?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll leave you that thought. In a world where AI can run the entire scholarly workflow, what part of thinking, creating, or judging absolutely must remain human? Something to mull over as we consider what HIKMA 2025 really means.